Welcome to the Majestic Truth podcast. Join us as we delve into the mysteries of the universe, explore the unexplained, and shed light on some of the most important events that have occurred and are occurring in our world today. Get ready to open your mind, expand your horizons, and discover the extraordinary. This is the Majestic Truth podcast. And now your host, Michelle.
Welcome aboard, truth seekers, to another episode of the Majestic Truth podcast, the show that explores the most intriguing mysteries and unexplained phenomena from our world and beyond. I'm your host, Michelle, and today we will be exploring the Aurora Texas UFO incident that happened on April 17, 1897, where, according to locals, a UFO crashed on a farm near Aurora, Texas. Now, before we kick off the show here, head on over to majestictruth.com/episode 26 to see the overview of this particular episode. Now, let me give you an event summary. The Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897 reportedly involved the crash of a strange airship in the early morning hours of April 17, 1897. According to accounts from the time, the airship was piloted by a strange being who perished in the crash. The debris from the wreckage was said to contain hieroglyphic-like symbols and pieces of a strange metal that was unlike anything found on Earth. There were claims that the pilot of the crashed UFO in the Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897, an extraterrestrial being, was buried in the Aurora Cemetery revolve around the accounts of witnesses and local residents who were present at the time of the incident. According to these accounts, after the mysterious airship crashed near Aurora, a small, humanoid figure was reportedly found among the wreckage. Witnesses described the pilot as having unusual features and not resembling a human being, leading to the belief that the being was of extraterrestrial origin. One of the most sensational claims was that the body of the pilot was recovered from the crash site and given a proper burial in the local Aurora Cemetery. Allegedly, a small grave with a peculiar tombstone, bearing strange hieroglyphic symbols, was erected to mark the final resting place of the supposed extraterrestrial pilot. Supporters of this claim point to the unique circumstances surrounding the burial, the presence of witnesses who attested to the otherworldly appearance of the pilot, and the mysterious symbols on the tombstone as evidence of extraterrestrial involvement in the Aurora, Texas UFO incident. However, skeptics and critics dismiss these claims as unsubstantiated and likely the result of embellishments or fabrications over time. They argue that the lack of concrete evidence, the fantastical nature of the accounts, and the absence of verifiable proof cast doubt on the theory that an alien being was buried in the Aurora Cemetery. Despite the controversy and skepticism surrounding the claims that the pilot of the crashed UFO was an extraterrestrial being buried in the Aurora Cemetery, the story persists as a captivating piece of UFO lore that continues to intrigue and fascinate those interested in the mysteries of the unknown and the possibility of contact with beings from beyond our world. So, let's ask some questions here. Question number 1. How did the townspeople and local officials respond to the alleged UFO crash in Aurora? Reports from the time indicate that the people of Aurora were both fascinated and frightened by the incident. Many believe that the crash was indeed caused by an otherworldly craft, while others dismissed it as a hoax or a natural event. The local authorities, including the town's judge, investigated the crash but were unable to determine the true nature of the wreckage. Question number 2. Has any scientific investigation been conducted to verify the claims made about the UFO incident in Aurora, Texas? While there have been no official scientific studies of the Aurora, Texas UFO incident, some researchers have attempted to uncover the truth behind the mystery. One such investigation in the 1970s claimed to have found fragments of the mysterious metal from the crash site, but these results were never independently verified. Question number 3. How has the Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897 impacted the town's history and local folklore? The Aurora Texas UFO incident has become a part of the town's identity, with many residents embracing the story as a unique piece of their history. The incident has been featured in books, documentaries, and even a historical marker in the town cemetery where the alleged alien pilot was said to have been buried. Question number 4. Are there any eyewitness accounts or documented reports from the time of the UFO incident in Aurora, Texas? Numerous accounts from the time describe the strange airship and its pilot, with some witnesses claiming to have seen the being's body before it was buried. However, the veracity of these reports has been called into question, leading some to doubt the authenticity of the entire incident. Question number 5. How did the local newspaper report on the UFO crash in Aurora in 1897? The Aurora newspaper at the time, the Daily News, published a detailed account of the incident, describing the crash and the subsequent investigation. The newspaper's coverage helped spread the story far and wide, leading to national interest in the mysterious event. We'll get into some articles in a bit here. Question number 6. Is there any physical evidence remaining from the Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897? Over the years, various artifacts from the crash have reportedly been found, including metal pieces, glass fragments, and even a possible alien body. However, much of this evidence has either been lost or deemed inconclusive, leaving the true nature of the incident shrouded in mystery. Question number 7. What theories have been proposed to explain the Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897? Theory number 1. Weather phenomena. Some skeptics suggest that the sighting of a mysterious airship and subsequent crash in Aurora could be attributed to unusual weather phenomena or natural occurrences. Optical illusions, meteorological events, or misinterpretations of known aerial objects may have contributed to the reports of a UFO in the area. Theory number 2, experimental technology. Another possible explanation put forth by skeptics is that the crashed object in Aurora was actually a prototype aircraft, or experimental technology being tested by a private individual or group. During the late 19th century, advancements in aviation were on the rise. Is it plausible that a clandestine test flight could have been mistaken for a UFO? Theory number 3, hoax or misidentification. Skeptics argue that the Aurora, Texas UFO incident may have been a hoax or a case of mistaken identity. It is suggested that the accounts of witnesses could have been exaggerated, fabricated, or misremembered over time, leading to the belief in an extraterrestrial connection where none existed. Theory number 4, cultural influence. The cultural context of the late 19th century, marked by a burgeoning interest in science fiction and stories of alien encounters, may have influenced perceptions of the Aurora, Texas UFO incident. Skeptics point to the prevalence of UFO myths and sensationalized reports in popular media as potential factors contributing to the belief in an otherworldly origin of the crashed object. Theory number 5, lack of concrete evidence. Critics of the extraterrestrial theory emphasize the lack of tangible evidence or conclusive proof to support the claims of an alien pilot and a government cover-up in the Aurora, Texas UFO incident. Without verifiable physical remnants, corroborating witnesses, or official documentation, the case for an extraterrestrial event remains speculative and unproven. By considering these skeptical perspectives and alternative explanations for the Aurora, Texas UFO incident, a more balanced view emerges that encourages critical thinking and scrutiny of the claims surrounding the event. While the mystery of Aurora's UFO remains unresolved, acknowledging diverse viewpoints and analyzing evidence from multiple angles can help shed light on the complexities of the case and the enduring fascination with the unknown. Question number 8. How has the Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897 been commemorated or remembered in modern times? The Aurora, Texas UFO incident continues to be remembered and commemorated in modern times, with the town hosting events, tours, and lectures dedicated to the mysterious event. The incident has also inspired books, movies, and documentaries that explore its enigmatic legacy. All right, so how about the conspiracy angle of this? The belief that the government was involved in covering up the Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897 is a prominent aspect of the conspiracy theories surrounding the event. Many UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists believe that there was a deliberate effort by government authorities to suppress information and hide the truth about what really happened in Aurora. Various claims and pieces of evidence have been put forward to support the theory of a government cover-up in the Aurora, Texas UFO incident. Here's 4 key points. Key point number 1, removal of evidence. Conspiracy theorists suggest that government agents arrived at the crash site shortly after the incident occurred and removed any physical evidence that could have revealed the true nature of the crashed object. This includes debris from the alleged airship, as well as the body of the pilot, if it was indeed an extraterrestrial being. Key point number 2, suppression of information. It is believed that the local authorities and possibly higher government officials were involved in silencing witnesses and pressuring them not to talk about what they had seen. This is definitely something we have heard before. Reports suggest that witnesses were intimidated, coerced, or sworn to secrecy in order to prevent the truth from coming out. Key point number 3, disinformation campaign. Some conspiracy theorists argue that the government actively engaged in spreading disinformation and misinformation about the Aurora, Texas UFO incident in order to muddy the waters and discredit any legitimate evidence or accounts that surfaced. This tactic was purportedly used to confuse the public and create doubt about the reality of the event. This is a tactic employed throughout various other cases in history. We have definitely heard this before. Key point number 4, national security concerns. Another angle of the government cover-up theory revolves around the idea that the crash of the UFO posed a potential threat to national security. It is theorized that the government sought to downplay or conceal the incident in order to prevent panic, maintain control over the narrative, and avoid revealing sensitive information about advanced technology or extraterrestrial contact. While there is no concrete proof to substantiate the claims of a government cover-up in the Aurora, Texas UFO incident, the theory persists among those who believe in a larger conspiracy to suppress information about UFOs and extraterrestrial encounters. The enduring mystery and intrigue surrounding the event continue to fuel speculation and debate about the role of government authorities in concealing the truth about what really happened in Aurora in 1897. So let's load up some newspaper articles. This first one's from the Dallas Morning News, April 19, 1897, by S.E. Hayden, titled "A Windmill Demolishes It." I'm going to load up one of our AI associates to read this.
About 6 o'clock this morning, the early risers of Aurora were astonished at the sudden appearance of the airship, which has been sailing through the country. It was traveling due north and much nearer the earth than ever before. Evidently, some of the machinery was out of order, for it was making a speed of only 10 or 12 miles an hour and gradually settling toward the earth. It sailed directly over the public square, and when it reached the north part of town, collided with the tower of Judge Proctor's windmill and went to pieces with a terrific explosion, scattering debris over several acres of ground, wrecking the windmill and water tank, and destroying the judge's flower garden. The pilot of the ship is supposed to have been the only one on board, and while his remains are badly disfigured, enough of the original has been picked up to show that he was not an inhabitant of this world. Mr. T.J. Weems, the United States Signal Service officer at this place and an authority on astronomy, gives it as his opinion that he was a native of the planet Mars. Papers found on his person, evidently the record of his travels, are written in some unknown hieroglyphs and cannot be deciphered. The ship was too badly wrecked to form any conclusion as to its construction or motive power. It was built of an unknown metal, resembling somewhat a mixture of aluminum and silver, and it must have weighed several tons. The town is full of people today who are viewing the wreck and gathering specimens of strange metal from the debris. The pilot's funeral will take place at noon tomorrow.
This next article is titled "Aurora Alien Encounter." Small town to celebrate 1897 crash of spacecraft. This is from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram from April 15, 2016, written by Gordon Dixon.
Town near Fort Worth launches alien event, stone marks spot where spaceman Ned was originally buried. At least 300 Earthlings are expected to attend events on Saturday. Tony Wheeler holds fond memories of growing up in the rural town of Aurora, sitting on the porch of an elderly resident named Mr. Mayfield and listening to him tell about the time a UFO crashed into a windmill, killing a spaceman. "He would tell us it did in fact happen," said Wheeler, now the city administrator, recounting one of the highlights of her Wise County childhood in the late 1970s. He said tons or people went rushing up there to the crash site, but they made all the lads stay back underneath the hill because they feared it might have a disease. Wheeler is ready to embrace the extraterrestrial adventure, and on Saturday they will host the first of what they hope will become an annual event known as the Aurora Alien Encounter. The festivities are scheduled to include a day of talks with UFO researchers and authors, an alien laser tag competition, and shuttle tours of both the residential area where the crash reportedly happened and the cemetery where the alien nicknamed Ned by the city council was buried. On April 17, 1897, a story attributed 10 Aurora cotton buyer S.E. Hayden appeared in the Dallas Morning News. About 6 o'clock this morning, the early risers of Aurora were astonished at the sudden appearance of the airship which has been sailing through the country. The story went on to explain that an aircraft smacked into a windmill just a few hundred feet north of what is now Texas 114 and crashed into a field. Supposedly, the pilot was buried in the town cemetery. The incident occurred 6 years before the Wright brothers' first human flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, and nearly 50 years before the much more famous unidentified flying object reportedly crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. Several components of the Aurora incident make it a compelling, mysterious tale. The plot in the Aurora cemetery where the alien was supposedly buried was later dug up, and the body, if there was one, was removed. An original stone marker with a UFO carved into it disappeared years ago, although today the site is marked with a nondescript, cigar-shaped boulder. Folks working on a History Channel show about the Aurora crash in 2008 opened the water well in search of wreckage that supposedly had been thrown inside. They found bits of metal, but tests on the material were inconclusive. Chunks of metal hieroglyphics were reportedly found at the crash site, but their whereabouts are unknown.
Okay, so the History Channel show I believe they are referring to is UFO Hunters, Season 2, Episode 4, called First Contact. This was a great episode, and I recommend watching it. I mean, listen to this show description. On April 19, 1897, the Dallas Morning News reported a mysterious airship had crashed into a windmill in the nearby town of Aurora, Texas. Townspeople were said to have found an alien body and buried it in the local graveyard. The crashed debris was dumped into a local well. More than 40 years later, the ranch owners were reporting skin lesions and crippling rheumatoid arthritis, which they attributed to tainted well water. The well was sealed over and forgotten. Now, more than a century after the event, the team will reopen the well and search for the legendary grave as they attempt to solve one of the earliest UFO cases ever recorded. Alrighty, so check that out. It's definitely worth it. So to conclude this episode of the Majestic Truth podcast, the Aurora Texas UFO incident of 1897 remains one of the most enduring mysteries in UFO history. Despite the passage of time and the lack of conclusive evidence, the incident continues to captivate us with its tantalizing blend of science fiction and historical intrigue. Only time will tell if the true nature of the Aurora, Texas UFO incident will ever be revealed. Send me your thoughts about the Aurora, Texas UFO incident to truth@majestictruth.com. I'd love to hear from you. All right, truth seekers, that concludes this episode of Majestic Truth. For more information on this episode about the Aurora, Texas UFO incident of 1897, visit majestictruth.com/episode 26. I hope you've enjoyed exploring the depths of the unknown with us today. Remember, The pursuit of truth and the quest for knowledge are ongoing journeys. So stay curious, stay open-minded, always follow your dreams, and keep seeking answers. And if you have your own theories or stories to share about UFOs and other conspiracies, reach out to us on social media or email us at truth@majestictruth.com. Don't forget to mark your calendars and set your alarms because our next episode will be available in 2 weeks on your favorite podcast app. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. Until then, keep your eyes on the skies, your mind open, and remember, the truth is out there.
For updates, behind-the-scenes content, and a chance to engage with fellow truth seekers, stay connected with us on social media. Find us on Twitter at TruthSeekerPod, Instagram at Majestic Truth Seekers, and TikTok at Majestic Truth Seekers. Thanks for listening.